Ms. Legalista here. Thank you for joining the video. Back with another Zelle bank scam caller, trying to figure out, hey, is this real or not? Let's go ahead and click on this. But I also want to go to some of the comments because some of you out there are really right on target with this. But we keep having this come back up. So yes, there is this need to sort of remind people out there who aren't really as up to speed on some of this. Those are the people that we're trying to reach. But let's go ahead and see what happened here.
How did you come across this story?
Well, first off, scams are getting so much more sophisticated. They're getting so much more advanced. So anytime I'm seeing any emails we've gotten about someone getting scammed, I'm on it. I want to hear about it. Now, this one in particular, it actually happened to one of our colleagues' loved ones. So she added the pitch, and as soon as I saw it, as someone who's on alert, looking at double or triple checking every text message I get, emails I get, and so forth, I had to jump on it.
So how does this all work? We know it works through Zelle, but how does this work?
So the gentleman I spoke to said he got a phone call, and it was a familiar phone call. It literally says Bank of America on it.
Wow, that's scary.
Okay, and then the person who's on the phone sounded very professional, sounded very legit, telling him he had a fraudulent account under his name. And really the goal at the end of this is really trying to convince this person to send money back to this account. And, it's like once you start sending money out, it's like giving cash to the scammer, right, directly.
Now, let me stop here because if you're thinking this through and you're the person who gets the phone call and they're telling you, and she's going to bring this up, they're telling you, hey, there's a fraudulent account here. And the person says, okay, well, let me see if this person is being honest with me. Let me pull up my own bank account and see if it's there. And then you go, I don't see this other bank account that you're talking about. They come back with, well, yes, it has been noted as fraudulent. That's why it's not showing up. Okay, these people have an answer for everything. The thing you need to think about, though, is why would you then need to send money for a fraudulent bank account that they now know is fraudulent and you don't have anything to do with it? So at some point in time, if you think that through, and that's the question that you ask them, I wonder what their answer would be to that. But let's go back and hear what she says happened next.
And so I spoke to him, and here's what he said, describing a little bit about what he had encountered with this imposter.
Between the caller ID, the person on the phone, it sounded like a real call from Bank of America. They said that, well, there were 2 Zelle transfers that are pending that were made from that new checking account that I would be on the hook for if we didn't get it straightened out.
So like I said, the scary part about it is it sounded just like Bank of America. What did Bank of America have to say?
Well, first off, not only did it sound just like Bank of America, it said Bank of America on the phone call, but he also said that they tried to get him to send like $3,500 through his Zelle account. And Bank of America, they're pretty much saying that, they would never call someone and tell you to send money in. They would never tell you to send money back to yourself. And really, they're urging folks to only send money to people you know. You can verify this with their phone number or their email address. And that's really what the Zelle account is connected to.
So she hit it right on the head. And because there have been so many scams, these banks who got together and put Zelle out there for their customers to use are now feeling the need to really warn their customers. Why? Personally, here's my personal thought. Not because there's some sort of altruistic motive here, but because they have been sued so many times and because this is showing up in the news. And it's now like, hey, bank, you know that something is going on here. You need to warn your customers. If you go to their website now, for most of these banks that use Zelle, you will see that they now have a lot of information up there about good practices and what not to do, what not to fall for. And this is one of those things that you don't want to fall for. It's exactly as she said here. It doesn't even make any sense if you think it through. Why would you send money via Zelle back to yourself for a fraudulent account that you don't own? It makes absolutely no sense here.
So just very scary scene. So he did feel at some point that it sounded suspicious. What he ended up doing is logging in on the app himself and saw that there was no fraudulent account there. He saw his checking account. He saw his savings account. And he asked the imposter, well, hey, where's this third account you're talking about? And they're like, oh, it's been flagged. That's why it's not on there. So he hung up and he called Bank of America directly. And that's when they told him this is a scam that's been going around.
See, okay, let's go through a number of things here. One is spoofing. I know a lot of times we don't know the technical name, and we really don't even have to know what the name is. That's when you get a call and it says it's from Bank of America, but it's really not Bank of America. Okay. So you cannot trust what is showing up on your phone. I'm telling you that you cannot trust what is showing up on your phone if it is someone you do not know. Number two, this whole sort of idea of gut instinct. Remember, she said he felt suspicious or felt like something was off. And so he hung up and called his bank. Always go with your gut instinct. Always go with your gut instinct. Usually it's because you have been down this road before. You have sensed something before. Your brain knows and you're just trying to catch up with it. You can't quite put your finger on it, but something doesn't quite fit here. Hang up the phone. Do exactly what he did. Do third-party confirmation someplace else. Go to the bank, call the bank yourself, go online, check your account. Do not trust these people who text and call you on the phone. I want to take a minute to go to the comments for a second. Some of these comments are actually pretty good. I love this first one. Just be antisocial like me. Never answer phone calls or text messages, at least from people you don't know. And don't assume, like I said before, as that just because something is showing up as a text message from this other party or a phone call from this other party, that's who it is, especially if it is not a number that you recognize. This person says, so tell them I'll call you back and watch them panic. Okay, yeah, you can always tell them you're going to call them back. Always hang up and call the company directly. And this is one of the main rules you need to go by. We know that. No bank would ever tell you to send money to an account to stop fraudulent activity. That one's right on the head. Same thing happened to me. And while I was on the phone with the scammer, I logged into my online account through my phone and saw everything was in place, then knew I was trying to be scammed. This next person says, let the unknown phone callers go to your voicemail. That's another way to really handle this too. If you don't know who it is, just let it go to voicemail, see who it is. And then if it's somebody that you actually need to call back, then you can call them back. This person says, the thing is always log back into your account. If the issue is true, there will be an alert in the system. That's right. Typically, you will have a messages section up there and it'll let you know if there are some messages to you. And this person says that. It says, don't click on the link in the email and stop answering your phones. Screen the call, then go into the branch and ask them about the issue. We are scammed because we like the convenience of simply answering. This person is exactly right. The convenience of just being on the phone with someone. And the other thing is, sometimes these people are calling when we're at work or we're in the middle of doing something, and we can't necessarily go to the bank at that moment in time. But I definitely recommend calling independently of the call that you receive, not using any number that they give you, any email account that they give you, or go to the bank yourself. Develop a relationship with the people at your bank. One of my banks I go to so often, they know who I am. This person says, happened to me during a tough time in my life, and I'm glad you're doing something about it and bringing it to light. Yes, I've had calls like this several times, and the number they called from actually showed up as Bank of America. This is spoofing. You cannot trust what it says on the phone. At least I was smart enough not to send them money or give them my account information. And I am glad that that did not happen to you and you were able to figure that out. This person says, how does Bank of America sound? And this is a really good point that you will hear, especially professionals in the industry talk about. You know, if there's a bunch of funky stuff going on in the background and the person doesn't really sound like they're a professional person, you know, if it doesn't sound like what you would expect a bank officer to sound like, ask yourself if that's really someone from Bank of America calling. Again, these are questions that you can ask yourself and think about when you get these phone calls. This person says, never respond to any kind of solicitation, whether it be a call, a text, an email, a knock on your door, etc. Let me tell you, and I've said this in another video, and I was going to do a video on it. I don't think I will because there's so much going on right now. But even the attorney general here in my state, his campaign got scammed. So any and everybody, they are going after any and everybody. Okay, you're talking about an attorney general, a state attorney general. Graceland, remember with the forged documents that these other parties tried to say, hey, we're going to foreclose on Graceland? You're going to go after one of the most highly known and visited residences in the country, and that's what you think you're going to get away with? These people have a lot of gall, and they will not stop at going after the big fish and going after the little fish. It does not matter to them. So this any kind of solicitation, I'm telling you. This person says people need to stop being so dumb, even if they sound professional. Even if it says Bank of America, hang up and literally call the bank. And that's the thing. Technology has made it so much easier for them to, number one, look like they're calling from the bank. And number two, we've got these voice impersonators now, this technology, AI software that can take bits and pieces of people's audio, like all of this talking that I'm doing, and use it to craft a message or craft a person sounding like somebody you know, or sounding like maybe a bank official. You guys, it's really hard. You have to be on your toes. This person is literally right. Hang up and literally call the bank. This person says, I do not answer phone calls from bank or anybody I do not know. Just start doing that. If I do get a call, it goes to my answering service. I will call them back through their official phone number or log into my account directly. Sending money is a red flag. It is a big red flag. This person says, I also have silenced unknown calls. Call the bank directly. Don't reply yes or no for any text you get regarding fraudulent transactions. And again, set up alerts on your account so that every time there's something over whatever your threshold is that you select, you can select your own threshold at most of these banks and say, I want a text notification anytime there's a transaction that hits my account that is over $200, over $300, $500, over $50. You know, you're like, I don't want anything coming out. I want it at $50. I want to know what's coming out at $50 or coming in. And you would get an alert every time that happened. Now, there was this one case where this lady was scammed out of $4,000. I don't know if you saw that video. Go back and look at that video. That's the one where the guy told her, hey, I think you left some money in the machine or something happened with the machine. And she came back over and he said, oh, let me have your card. And he supposedly stuck it in there for her. Next thing she knows, she doesn't have her card. She's got some other fake card. And $4,000 has been withdrawn from her account 3 times. Well, guess what? She said she had notifications. She said she had a threshold limit up there for withdrawals. And yet this person was still able to take that money out and she did not receive these notifications. So they're still trying to figure out what happened with that. But for most of us, it is going to work. Put those notifications on your phone. This person says, why would anyone believe their bank is calling them asking for, this person says, come to my house and get it. I don't understand why these two are laughing. It's not a laughing matter. Okay, I didn't really see that part. Scammers spoof. Exactly. Scammers spoof bank phone numbers, Amazon. You cannot trust what is showing up on your phone. I don't know how else to say that. Any product like Zelle that provides zero protection, thank you, from fraud and liability should be a no-brainer to avoid using. Just don't do business with people or shops who limit that as your only way to pay. Sooner or later, they will change from Zelle to a more consumer-friendly product. Let me tell you, Zelle, Cash App, these platforms, these tools that allow us to do these cash transactions back and forth are only supposed to be used between you and other parties that you know. You and other parties that you know, other businesses that you know, friends you know, family you know, people you know. You should not be using it for these arbitrary transactions with parties that you don't know. You're more likely to run into an issue with scam. And here's the thing. This person is so on the ball, on the money when they say any product like Zelle that provides zero protection. And that's the thing. These banks have been running into so many issues because customers are finding out they're getting scammed. They're going back to their banks and their banks are saying, there is nothing we can do. You authorized the transaction. Think about that for a second. You authorized the transaction in some cases. You didn't know the other party was a scam, that it was part of bank fraud or something like that. You found out after the fact, and now you want your money back. And Bank of America or all of these other banks that allow you to use Zelle say, we can't do anything about it. You authorized the transaction because you received a spoofed text or a spoofed call on your phone and you thought it was somebody else, and then you went in there and you used Zelle to send them the money. So you actually did the transaction yourself. And those financial institutions use that as their way of saying they are off the hook because you were the one that did it. And so that's what this person is saying. Any product like Zelle that provides zero protection from fraud and liability should be a no-brainer when it comes to not using. I tell people, do not use it. It is not for these just transactions that you don't know about. If the bank calls you, they will never ask you to verify yourself. Call your local bank. Scammers can spoof. We've talked about that. Don't even have the app installed at all. This is the best one yet. Love this one. Don't have the app installed. I don't even think I don't have Zelle because I can't use Zelle. So I don't even think I have that. Now, there's some other things that I do use, but that's not one of them. That is not one of them. I know some people use Venmo. I might have used that once. I don't know. Just not my thing. I try to limit some of this. I really do. The more you put your information out there, the more people can get it. Remember, in the last few weeks, I've received, 2 notices of data breaches. Okay. All right. This person says Bank of America needs to do a better job. Being a customer of Bank of America is not wise. It's not just Bank of America. There are numerous banks that got together to create Zelle and put it out there as a product. And now they pitch it on their website. So I'm going to let that be it because I think that is more than enough. You get the point. People have provided you with a lot of insight in regards to things that you should follow to help keep yourself into getting into some of these financial jams with scammers and fraudsters out there trying to get a hold of your account information and get your money. So hopefully this brings you up to speed. Please, if this has kept you informed, reminded you of some things to think about, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.